Hello everyone and welcome to another Top 5 Records video and another one in the series in which I'm taking a closer look at the full body of work of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, awaiting the release of their newest album, Wild God, which will be at the end of this month. And we have arrived at their 8th studio album, Let Love In. Now, I've recently discussed Let Love in the top 5 of best albums from 1994. If you're curious about that video, have a look below. It will pop up. Um, the thing is, this record just keeps haunting me, and I keep returning to it. Let's first start with its visuals and the story it tells. I'm not sure who did the photograph on the top of there. I do know that Anton Corbijn often works um, with Nick Cave and that they are frequent collaborators. But here on the cover, I can't seem to find information about who did this incredible job. I'm sure some of the viewers might know it. I wasn't thinking about it before I started this video. I was just haunted by this Ziggy Stardust Aladdin Sane spoof. Nick Cave has his hair the exact same way. He's also clearly in a physical different state. Aladdin Sane was Bowie's cry for help, and you could see that the cocaine addiction with a diet of milk and I believe red peppers, um, it took its toll. He was drained. You see a body drained, and Nick Cave is actually having the same haircut here, but also this body. I believe not by cocaine but heroin. I'm not sure exactly what he did take, but Nick Cave is a famous heroin addict in that regard, and at this time of this record, he was struggling the addiction. It has taken its toll. Now, without that becoming too exploitive, there's one brilliant element that puts a level of depth not only to the picture but of the entirety of this record. And it's this title, Let Love In. If it is not a cry for help, which you could think it's a cry for help, but there is too much bravery. There's too much even hope, not only in the picture, but also on the record to see this as a cry of help. I think it's more as a hymn, a religious hymn, or just a hymn for hope. Because it's odd that in a lot of ways this feels as one of his deepest lows. Personally, it's also one of the strongest moments by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. For me, the first side is the pinnacle of dark, threatening Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. The ringing of heavy chains aggression of the Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. The first side is the old fashioned aggression. I love that. Opening with a track called Do You Love Me, which is so intense. It is so powerful. The entire side has these bangers. I mean, it's banger after banger. Ending of side one with Red Right Hand. Anybody who's seen Peaky Blinders knows what I'm talking about. I think Red Right Hand is one of the great Nick Cave and the Bad Seed songs. I think it's one of the best songs of the 90s. It's up there with the Tender Praise, the Mercy Seat. It's the entirety. It's the mythical lyrics. It's the haunting way Nick Cave sings it with an incredible confidence. He's becoming more and more a confident vocalist. I heard in a recent interview that he often struggled with his fear of singing flat, and that was even on studio albums you sometimes hear him singing flat. I don't mind it that much, but a lot of people, and not only industry people, but for a lot of people, a flat note is like a death sentence for a vocalist. I think that if a flat note comes up at a moment of um, not collapsing but embracing your emotion, or being taken aback by your emotions, or giving the idea that you are struck by emotions, I don't mind a moment of flatness. I prefer vocals to be sincere. And that's for me why Nick Cave is such an incredible vocalist. But here on Let Love In, he is becoming a more confident vocalist. Red Right Hand is a haunting tune, a quality that I'm in total awe of. But the entire production of that song, I mean, the development, the keys, the bass, ooh, the way it walks, where it just walks, steps forward like a mobster. I love that song. Then side B opening with Let Love In. An incredible song. And again, I love the essence of this record, that it is out of out of hell in a certain way, a plea to embrace love. It's not a plea for love. It's not like Queen's Somebody to Love, which is begging for somebody to love him. No, no, no. There is love. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, or Nick Cave himself, noticed that there is love in the world. But the main character is at that moment in his life when he has realized that there is love and that the embrace itself is problematic. And I think that is such an interesting moment, such an interesting perspective, and it has so much depth. It just goes on. Thirsty Dog, Ain't Gonna Rain Anymore. The second side is more ballad like, again, hymn like. Then you get Lay Me Low, which is an incredible vocal performance, one of the best songs of this album. And then it ends with bookends, because here you have Do You Love Me Part 2. Wow. This is one of the great records from the 90s. I think it's one of the great records from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And the strange thing is, I tried to Google something for this video so I could tell more about the background. The Wikipedia page tells nothing of the production process, the release, just that it's the eighth album. I'm just stunned, because for me, this is one of the big masterpieces. And I'm curious, do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.